So I got both power cables here. We'll plug it up and see if they work and see how loud it is. Oh, that ain't good. Welcome back to Got Wire. I'm Adam, and today I have this IBM G812 4E 24 port 10 gig switch. It's a fairly older switch, but 24 ports of 10 gig, you can't really beat. And it came with a bunch of fiber transceivers, multi-mode, that I just have to clean. This thing was really dirty. It looked like it came out of a factory and it had a bunch of black dust on it. So I blew it out and it is extremely loud. The old fans had these server fans in it that were really loud. And I'm gonna be putting some Noctua fans in it that are really quiet. And I'm gonna be racking it up into my rack out in my garage for more 10 gig ports. And I found these online for around $100, but I was able to find 2 of these on Facebook Marketplace for $100. But I think 2 of these at $100 was a really great deal. I got the other one out in my garage. I just need to clean it. But today I'm gonna be showing you me installing these fans and the switch here. I ain't gonna have all 24 ports loaded up, so I'm just gonna be putting 3 of the 5 fans in here. And if it overheats, I'll just buy me some more Noctua fans to stick in here. So here in a minute, I'll show you the inside. I'll take this top off and show you the inside and show you where I'm mounting these fans. So as you can see here on the front, it has a bunch of SFP plus ports all the way up to 24. And then you have management Ethernet here. I'm not sure what that one does. I'm pretty sure it's management too. And then you have your reset button. I had to reset this because it came with VLAN set up on these. But in my opinion, it's not a bad little switch for $100. And then here's the inside. And then the back is where we'll be mounting the fans. And it also has 2 power supplies internal that you can't remove, but you can see the power connector for each one. And here in the back, this is what the fans were mounted to. And there was 6 in here originally, but I'm just gonna put 3 in here, mainly focused at the heatsink here. And when you stick this in, there's a little switch over here on the side. I guess that tells it that it has fans installed. And then as you can see here, I have all the fan headers. And these are some Noctua low noise fan adapters. So I may put these on here if it's still too loud without it. I was trying to use these low noise adapters with the original fans, but it was still way too loud. So we'll go ahead and get this old fan off this bracket and then we'll get the new fans installed. And I'm just using the screws that originally came with the original fans. It has some coarse threads, and it's not cut threads into this Noctua fan plastic. All right, we got the fans all mounted up here to the rail. And they're all pretty much directly in line with the main heat sink here. Like I said, I'm about to have all 24 ports filled up, so hopefully it won't overheat, but if it does, I'll just buy 3 more. These fans are kind of expensive. They're $15 each, so I have about $45 sitting there. So we'll get these fans plugged up here. So I got both power cables here. We'll plug it up and see if they work and see how loud it is. Oh, that ain't good. I'll let the smoke out. Well, that did not work. So in that last clip, you saw I let the smoke out on those fans. So obviously I can't use those fan headers on the motherboard with these Noctua fans. So I went ahead and bought 3 more Noctua fans. And what I'm gonna do is, for the solution to get them to work, I have this I bought off Amazon. It has 2 fan connectors on it and it takes 120. You can adjust the speed with this little knob, and it has 2 fan headers, and then I got my Noctua fan plugged into it. So I'm gonna try to fit this box inside the switch in like a free space and maybe cut the power cable off and wire it to one of the power supplies. Or if this won't fit, I'm just gonna run the wire out the back of the switch and then just make sure this is plugged in when the switch is on. I know it's kind of janky, but the noise with these stock fans, like even one of them in here, is horrendous. And I know it just booted up. It doesn't get really any quieter once it's fully booted up. So I definitely need to fan mod this thing somehow. So I'm gonna get this cover off, uninstall the 1 original fan that I put in here, and then get these 3 Noctua fans hooked up to this external power supply. And that noise was even with a Noctua low noise fan adapter, and that still didn't seem to help it. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this factory fan and install these Noctua hooked up to this. I might be able to fit this somewhere in here, but I doubt it because I think this knob's gonna be too high, even if I take off the knob. So out with the old and in with the new. So now we'll turn it on and see if this one lets the smoke out. And nope, it's on. It's moving. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. And it's really quiet. And it's moving a lot of air. I'm sure it'll help once I get the cover on. And I'm going to stick 2 more here and here. I know it has more fans, but if I run into overheating, I'll buy some more fans. These things are not cheap. So I'll go ahead and get the other 2 installed. And then we'll put it together. And I'll show you how to get into the command line and configure these ports. So I got it all put back together. I just drilled a big hole so this could come out the back. You can see the 3 fans there, and I don't know if you can hear, but it's way quieter. I actually got them turned on right now. Well, now that I got the fan situated, I got my cable here. I'm consoled into it, and then I also have this plugged into port 1, and I set this up on my management VLAN. In the future, it's going to be SFP to RJ45, and then I'll plug it into my Ubiquiti switch and just use port 1 for management. These over here, the management ports over here, apparently I have to pay a subscription or update the firmware to be able to use these 2 to SSH into the switch. So I'm just going to use this, put it on my management VLAN, and go into the web GUI that it has. I'll show you the web GUI here in a second. All right, I'm consoled into the switch here, and I swapped Linux distros. I'm now using Bazzite, and Bazzite, you can game on it. That's why I got my games folder here. So you can easily game on Bazzite, and it looks more like Windows. It's a little bit easier to use, so I'm gonna try out Bazzite. But anyways, this is the switch here. I downloaded PuTTY, serial consoled into the switch, and I renamed it GotWire 10 gig switch. So to get into enable, you just type in EN, and then you can do tab, and it types out enable. And now you're in enabled status where you can change stuff. And then to configure, you just type in CONF tab, and then for this you have to type in terminal for some reason. And if you type in TER and hit tab, it'll spell it out for you, and then you can hit enter. So if you're a bad speller like me, just type in the first couple letters, hit tab, and see if it autofills it. And then now we're in config mode. So if you don't know the command, you can hit question mark, and it'll start listing all these commands. I'm just using my scroll wheel to move this up. So you can type in boot, debug, host, exit, failover, more. You hit spacebar and it lists more of them, more commands. But in here, I configured port 1 to be on my management VLAN. So I found out it has a web GUI, and I just went to the IP address that I assigned port 1 on my management VLAN, and then it's admin, and I went ahead and changed the password. By default, it's admin. And then up here, if you do configure and click on this here on the left, if you go to switch ports, it'll list all your ports for you. And as you can see here, port 1, I have it on my management VLAN of 41. If I go to layer 2 and then go to virtual LANs, I added all my VLANs here. I have management, IoT VLAN, camera VLAN, phone VLAN, and then this is the internal management that this IBM switch uses. So the real cool part is to put your ports on the VLAN. So to put your ports on the VLAN, you just click on what VLAN you want. So if I want to put a port on my camera VLAN, I click on 101. And right now by default 2, I have on every one because that's my main, I think you call it trunk port that carries all my VLANs across. So if I want to put port 5 on my camera VLAN, I just click on 5, hit add, go down and hit submit. And then up here in the top left, I hit apply and save. And when I do that on PuTTY, you can actually see it in here applying the commands. And if you click on switch ports, what I also do is I click on the port here, and then default port VLAN ID, I change it to whatever VLAN I want it to be on, and then I hit submit. But I don't think that does anything. I think that's just the default port. Right now, all of them are set to 1. So besides port 1 here, that is my management uplink. So all these right here are enabled, state enabled, and then VLAN tagging, I have it enabled on port 2 because that's my main trunk port that carries all my VLANs across. So if I want to disable, let's say port 3, switch port status, I can disable it, for security, but I'm going to leave them all enabled by default. So this web GUI is really nice. It's kind of old, but it works. It's like early 2000s-esque, but since I have to pay a license fee to be able to SSH into it, I'm just going to use the web GUI and do it this way. If you guys know a better way, for this type of switch, leave it down in the comments and let me know. I'm always willing to learn. And the command to save your config is write memory. So I just typed in WRI, and then if I type in M, tab, write memory. So it's saying, hey, I didn't change anything, no save needed. So if you do a command here, if you change like a port and this PuTTY session, you always want to make sure you write to the memory, because if you forget to write it and unplug it, there went all your configuration. Don't ask me how I know that happens. So all in all, if you're thinking about doing 10 gig networking in your home lab, find some of these cheap, old, used 10 gig enterprise switches. They're pretty loud, but if you fan mod it like how I did, or something similar, hopefully you don't let out the smoke like how I did. I heard that term, let out the smoke, from a channel called AVE. I'll have his channel linked down in the description. If you want a good laugh about how somebody talks and how machinery works, he's a really good channel to watch. But it was a little bit of a pain in the butt to fan mod the switch, but as you can see in the video, I kind of rigged it up, but it works. I'm sure there is a better way to get those fans hooked up to power. If there is, let me know down in the comments. But that's all I have for you guys today. I'd really appreciate it if you're not subscribed. You go down there and hit that subscribe button, and while you're down there, also hit the like button. Try not to let the smoke out when you do that. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, so if you can help me reach 1,000, I'd really appreciate it. I have a giveaway for you guys when I reach 1,000 subscribers. Trend Networks was gracious enough to send this PoE Pro tester over. I'm gonna do a dedicated video on it when I hit 1,000 subscribers and tell you guys how you can win it. I also have a Discord server linked down in the description. If you want to join my Discord, share pictures of your home lab, feel free. I'd really appreciate it. I like seeing you guys' setups. I also have some Amazon affiliate links down in the description to all the stuff that I've used in this video. So if you're thinking about buying something, use one of those links. It really helps me out. I get a little bit of a kickback. Doesn't cost you guys anything extra. I also have a partner program link down there. If you click on it and sign up for a small fee, you get early access to my videos and some behind the scenes footage. So I'd really appreciate it if you went down there and clicked on that. But that's all I have for you guys today. I'm Adam, and I'll see you guys on the next one.